40, Iowa 35. I'm joined by Clark Kellogg. They are not going to be taking tea together at halftime because there was a slight disagreement. What do you think was going on?
Well, I think basically what happened was the game was very physical within the 20 minutes being played, and then at the end there was an altercation between Joey Range and Khalid El-Amin. We're going to take a look right there in the middle of your screen. A little brush of the shoulders and then a rake of the face of El-Amin by Range, and that kind of set things off to the point where you had a little bit of friction. But Iowa is a very physical team, Greg. They don't allow you to do what you want to do. And I think maybe a little bit of frustration on the part of UConn because they've not been able to extend the lead like they have in their first two games.
All right, Clark, we won't allow a hockey game out there. Let's take you now to Knoxville, where Ohio State and Auburn are doing battle in the second half. Right now, the Buckeyes with a 5-point lead on the top seed Tigers. Let's join Sean McDonough and Bill Raftery live.
Ohio State leads by 4. Brock Robinson makes it 2 out of 2 on that trip to the line for Auburn. And it's a 3-point game with 16:40 remaining. In the 90s, only one #1 seed in the South has made it to the Final Four. That was Kentucky in '93. Auburn is the #1 seed in the South this year and in a real battle with the 4 seed Ohio State.
Look at this guy back in and get a good look. Michael Redd.
And it's the shot and Porter control.
The big difference, I think, what Ohio State has been able to isolate, space a little bit on the offensive end, and Auburn trying to pick up tempo now, a little in their favor.
Johnson steps out on Robinson. Porter's 10 rebounds tonight. Smith might have been fouled by Red on the 3. Penn. A look away pass to Brown, and a foul call.
Do they clean it up, though? They missed. They got a counter.
Foul on Porter, his second, the team's 4th. St. John's a winner here earlier this evening against Maryland. 14-point win for the Red Storm. So St. John's awaits the winner of this one. Eric Barkley, the freshman point guard, 24 points, 9 assists. Maryland scoreless over the last 8:26 of the first half.
And that little shot tells you about the Ohio State program. He only has to talk to one guy, that's Scoonie Penn, Jim O'Brien. And then he understands exactly, or as Jimmy has said, lets him recommend some things that he has seen on the floor.
Ryan Brown makes 2 free throws. The lead back to 5 for Ohio State.
And Cliff Ellis wanted it inside. They've been looking for that jumper. A little zone look right now by Ohio State.
Damian Fishback with a very good first half. Now Robinson back for Fishback. They're looking inside. A 3-second violation called against Mamadou Ndiaye.
Oh.
15:42 remaining. The #1 seed in the South in a real struggle with Ohio State. Ohio State by 5, just under 16 minutes remaining here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Let's check the data bank. We again gave it away a moment ago. In the 90s, only one #1 seed from the South region. It used to be the Southeast, but from this region has made it to the Final Four. That was Kentucky in '93. They lost in the national semifinal to Michigan in overtime. But look at all these other #1 seeds from the South that went home earlier than expected.
It's a bad distinction to have, it looks like, but if Auburn is going to escape that list, it's going to have to get it out of some defense and establish low. They have not done that in either case.
In this regional semifinal, we have the top 4 seeds. The tournament expanded to 64 teams in 1985, and this is only the 8th time since '85 that the top 4 seeds in a region have all advanced to that region's semifinal. Shooting is a lot better here in the second half. Quality of play a little bit better too. When they shoot better, everything looks better.
Yeah, it sure does. It complements your defense. And I think they ran a trap now, Auburn, on the sideline here. Tough spot to inbound the ball. You got to go deep, I think.
And Brown does go deep. Jason Singleton still not back on the court. Michelle Tafoya tells us from the Ohio State bench area that he aggravated a left ankle injury, chronic injury, had it retaped. They do anticipate that he could return.
And they try and get closer with each weave exchange. Pretty dish.
Reese missed a runner. Foul on Auburn on the rebounding action. Well, the fouls were dramatically tilted in Auburn's favor. Ohio State 10, Auburn 2 fouls in the first half. Now it's 5 Auburn fouls and 1 on Ohio State in the second half.
Drive, draw, and deliver. And you can see the offensive rebound. You can't blame Cliff Ellis was up. Not happy with that call.
2 fouls on Robinson. 5.
So the Buckeyes with a 5-point lead on Auburn. The winner moves on to play St. John's on Saturday. Earlier today in Phoenix, Gonzaga, the number 10 winner of UConn versus Iowa. Can you believe 10 seeds are 8-1 in the tournament thus far?
Wow.
Join us tomorrow here on CBS. We all begin at 7:30 Eastern Time, and then at 7:38, Southwest Missouri State against top seed Duke in the East, and then the top seed in the Midwest, Michigan State against Oklahoma. Later that night, Purdue against Temple, and Miami takes on defending national champion Kentucky. We'll take a timeout here, and then we'll come back with second half action between UConn and Iowa. Richard Hamilton of the Huskies leading the way with 12 points.
Pennzoil at the half has been sponsored by Pennzoil, specially formulated for today's stop-and-go driving. Stop, go, Pennzoil.
Also played there for Bob Cousy, one of the all-time great players, coaches, and people. Foul called on Njai, his second, team's 5th. Actually, the team's 6th. In less than 2 weeks, get ready for a new hour of comedy. Catch the premiere of Craig Kilborn's new talk show, March 30th, after David Letterman, right here on CBS.
Simplistic approach, little screen away. Gets Reese into position, doesn't make it now. In jeopardy of coming up empty, and this thing gets tighter. You need those free throws to go in.
Reese missed the first. He has 2 points. Missed both. And that is a weakness of the Ohio State team. The free throw shooting just 61.5% for the year. That's poor.
Nice back cut and look. Njai to Smith, huh? With the left, little switcheroo.
Reese stopped Smith on the first try. And then Smith scored. Bad pass. What a play by Rebb to control that pass. What a play by Rebb.
All the way, huh? Oh, you close your eyes, you're going to fall over. He just slithers by people. Nice tip to himself as well, Sean.
Amazing that he could save it and then control it without turning it over to the other team, and then he took it the distance. Porter. Oh, my goodness.
Come on. Just put the P in your pocket.
That looked like a clean reach in and takeaway, but now it's 4 fouls on Penn.
And there's your play, Sean, the tip and just the ability. I'm sure Njai figured he's going to run right over me. Let me close my eyes. You wake up, a deuce.
Now that play was right in front of us, Bill, and maybe we didn't have as good an angle of it as the official, but
we had a better one.
Like all, yeah, that's all ball right there. That's a terrible 4th foul call. These officials are determined, it seems, to be a big part of the story here tonight. Foul on Savovich, his first and the team's 4th. So Penn, the Big Ten Player of the Year, selected by the media. Team Cleves won that honor from the coaches in the Big Ten. Is on the bench with 13:20 remaining. As Jim O'Brien has said, without Scooney Penn at 100%, we're a very average team. Without him last year, they won 8 games.
Excuse me, Sean. They're going to find Smith or people along the baseline against them. Look at them picking apart the little 3-2 zone, huh?
And another reach-in foul call that had no effect on the play this time. Porter was ready to spin and go to the basket, but they get Singleton for his 3rd on a reach-in and the 15 foul.
Jimmy O'Brien trying to steal time. That's what he's doing now without Ken Johnson. Penn as well. And so they're scrambling in this defense. Looks like a 2-3, but it'll flatten out to shape. And now it's a 3-2, if you notice. The Red will flatten out on the baseline if he has to.
Coleman hits the runner.
There you go. A little more relaxed. Charles enjoying it as well, but Pullman struggled because he caught him so deep earlier.
First basket for Pullman, who goes crashing into the table going for the steal. Singleton, Red was open for a 3. He's more comfortable there and wouldn't drop. Fish back the rebound. Auburn with a chance to take the lead with 12.5 left. Pullman, foul.
He just keeps on trucking. Wind him up. He'll cut. He'll space out. He'll screen and pop to the basketball.
That's the 4th foul on Singleton. So Penn has 4, Johnson has 4, Singleton has 4. 3 starters for Ohio State with 4 fouls each.
And Sean, when you give it up early, you can get in position to cut. The defense doesn't react. They're trying to get organized in their zone. He's slight, but he is tough, and he's got a monster ticker.
Now 3 points for Pullman. Auburn here in recent seconds. Singleton goes out with his 4. Sanderson's back in. So it is Brown, Savovich, Red, Sanderson, and Reese for Ohio State in a tie game with 12:26 left. Pullman gives Auburn its first lead since 3:19 remained in the first half.
And see if they step up the pressure because Penn's not on the floor. Now they back it off after the initial trap.
And Savovich will give it to Brown. Robinson banging on the floor, wants the defensive stop with the momentum on the side of Auburn. And a foul called on Porter. We had the makings of a very entertaining game here at the start of the second half, and the officials just want to call foul after foul now, it seems.
Yeah, that one there, the reach over, but there have been a lot of small changes. You can see the disadvantage totally in Ohio State's disfavor as 3 starters saddled. And Jimmy O'Brien trying to maneuver defensively with as many looks and changes without going after them in their man-to-man.
17 fouls. Porter leaves with 3 personal. So Sanderson goes to the line for a 1-and-1. And has not attempted a free throw tonight. Whoa, barely grazed the front rim. And one of the weaknesses of the Buckeyes showing up here. Tigers by 1. Pullman traveled.
And good play by Brown. They've run him up the lane with some screens, Pullman. And good reaction to cause the turnover.
14 turnovers by Auburn. Ohio State's only turned it over 7 times. The rebounding edge is 29-17 in favor of Auburn. Both teams shooting 40% for the game from the floor.
It's mostly red, Sean. They're going to have to find some space. There's his area. He loves that. Oh,
Ball against Njai.
He's calling a message. Njai saying, don't come down into my neighborhood. Pretty good reaction off the bounce, Sean.
Credit the basket to Michael Redd. It gives the Buckeyes a 1-point lead.
Oh, good, folks. 42-37. Settles. Hops off the glass, and he banks it home. Full court pressure by Iowa.
It appears that we've picked up exactly where we left off.
Elamine the other way, cut off by Bauer. Hamilton in the corner, goes baseline, he's fouled.
Connecticut very quick on the attack thus far in the second half, not really giving Iowa a chance to try to be able to set its defense.
Second team foul called against the Hawkeyes. And Koch picks up foul number 1. McCausland out of the game, Luersman back in. So the backcourt has Oliver and Luersman along with Bauer.
Oh, and here is Settles and Bosco really going after one another. Jess Settles is a very aggressive player, and here he just lays the wood to Jake Bosco, pushes him out of the way.
Settles with 1 foul.
A very small lineup in the game for Iowa.
Elamine in and out. And Elamine picks up the rebound and a new shot clock. And a whistle and foul away from the ball. This time it's Voskuhl, and he has some words for John Sweeney, the official. He better be careful. He's still talking.
It's Voskuhl and it's Settles, and Voskuhl puts an elbow and moves him out of the way. That's 3 personal fouls on Jake Voskuhl, and you just have to understand what's going on in this game. The officials are looking at things. They're going to call it a little bit more closely. You can't make that kind of a play.
Luersman in the low post to range. Back to Luersman.
200 pounds. He's got the strength once he gets down in there to do some damage. And that's a turnover. Wong threw it off the back of the backboard.
Momentum shifting here.
You talked in the first half about why keep up the pressure. Well, you're going to get a turnover if that's your style of play, and Tom Davis's crew getting it that time.
Jakes. Iowa can take the lead on this trip. They've trailed by as many as 7. And look at Connecticut this half, 1 of 7.
After 64% in the first half.
And I tell you what, from where I sit, this Iowa run started as they went into halftime, and Khalid El-Amin was bumped by range. They've been playing physical Iowa here in the second half, and it's really thrown Connecticut out of their groove. Range. Jakes wheels. No call. Settles with the ball and a timeout. And Jody Silvestri rather, says that the Huskies got all ball on that play. Take another look.
This is a tough pass. Jakes actually does a pretty good job turning into the lane.
It's a good call.
That replay, it looked like he had his hand right on top of the ball.
The Academic All-Stars recognize one player on each team for academic excellence. For tonight's game, the All-Stars are Jess Settles for Iowa, an elementary education major, and Rip Hamilton for Connecticut, communication sciences. And Settles communicating all right now. He has really started to step up his physical play. Jakes. And he got the bounce. And Iowa takes the lead.
That's something that I don't know is part of the Iowa playbook. Jakes taking it down the lane and making a scoop shot.
El-Amin tripping, kept his dribble, and moves up the floor. El-Amin, and he lays it in himself.
Now you want some tough play, El-Amin will give you some tough play.
He's one of the toughest in the country.
What an outstanding play to keep your dribble when you fall down.
Here's range. UConn back up by 1. Norseman cut off by El-Amin.
Jakes really working hard inside against Saunders.
And Lorsman sets it up again. Around the high screen. 4 to shoot. Inside, Jakes fouled, and he heads to the line.
Jakes fouled on that particular occasion, but he had a big basket 2 trips ago for Iowa. Sliding down the lane with the scoop shot. Range very nearly touched it and didn't. But you want to talk about toughness. Khalid El-Amin gets up off the floor all the way down the court through 4 Iowa defenders.
Foul called on Saunders, his second. 3rd team foul against UConn.
Keep in mind that Voskuhl has 3 personal fouls.
And Jakes short on the first. E.J. Harrison coming into the game now for the Huskies, and El-Amin takes a seat. Second one is good. 15:29 to go. 44 apiece here in Arizona. Second half, Iowa, Connecticut tied at 44 in game 1. Gonzaga down by 1. Quentin Hall going to the basket, and watch Casey Calvary tip it in with 4.4 to go. Eddie Shannon with the last chance for Florida, and Gonzaga moves on. And the heroes, Richie Fromm had 3 points at halftime, ended with 17 and 5 threes. And Casey Calvary with the big tip in. And look at the 2 Munsons, Don and Dan. And now the younger can talk a little mess to the older because he's gone farther.
Absolutely. The older went to the Sweet 16 in 1982 with Iowa, and now Dan Munson into the Elite 8.
And he's right up there sitting next to his dad. Probably the 2 of them scouting together. They play the winner of this game. Ricky Moore. And look how Bauer's sagging off of Moore. He's daring him to take that shot right there.
Iowa playing in that zone again. They're trying to find Hamilton.
Hamilton missing. Rebounded by Rucker. Hamilton 5 of 12 from the field. He has 12 points.
And if you're Connecticut, you really have to pay attention to McCausland now. And there's an illegal screen set by Jakes. So Connecticut will get the turnover. And then Iowa was trying to get McCausland open. But a great job by Richard Hamilton.
So Jakes sits on the bench, and Koch back into the game along with Oliver, Bauer, McCausland, and Rucker for UConn. Mooring, Rip Hamilton, Elamine, Voskuhl, and Saunders.
Keep in mind that Jake Voskuhl playing with those 3 personal fouls.
UConn in white, Iowa in black.
Iowa with that 3-2 zone look right at the moment.
Mooring steps up, beat his man, and hit the runner from 15.
Tom Davis telling the officials he thought that was a walk.
And he has 8 points.
Hit 2 big threes in the first half. Connecticut stays in the man-to-man. Hamilton is matched up against McCausland, and he's done a great job all evening.
McCausland cannot shake him. Inside, Rucker. Drop step, baseline, cut off. Inside, Koch. He's fouled from behind by Saunders.
That was a nice job by Rucker to make the pass. 3 fouls now against Saunders. Voskuhl kept Rucker from getting to the basket, and Rucker, realizing that he was too far out on the court to attempt a turnaround jump shot, found Koch underneath.
So J.R. Koch, a senior, a 74% free throw shooter. And he's been through a lot of ups and downs here at Iowa. They expected a lot out of him coming out of high school sometime. He has been booed while playing at Iowa by the student section and the numbers on the mayor.
2 very solid games for Iowa. And Iowa plays a lot of people. They spread the offense around, so 12 points is a pretty good game for an Iowa big man.
Got both of them. 13:49 to go, second half of play. We're knotted up at 46. Connecticut, the #1 seed against Iowa. They are a #5. Mooring down the baseline.
Brian Brown, the other guard, has the other 2, so they've had no front court scoring at all in this half.
And then you add on the masterful job of Penn going back in, not fouling, and conversely, Fishback being a terrific guy for him because he's not a post-up guy, he's a deep guy.
Tim O'Brien has Jason Singleton back in with 4 fouls. So Penn and Singleton are playing with 4 each. It's Brown pestering Robinson to the backcourt. Robinson with Fishback, Porter, Njai, and Smith for Auburn.
And they're trying to establish Fishback. Look at Penn. Sleight of hand.
Even with 4 fouls, he went for the risky steal. A 3 long from Brian Brown. Rebound, Njai. "11 rebounds for Njai. Porter.
Boy, is he tough, huh? He stuck that arm in, got himself turned around. They rode Fishback once. That was enough, huh? Get the big guy down the block.
3-point lead for Auburn. 15 and 10 for Porter. 15 points, 10 rebounds.
Good back cut and post up red.
7 minutes remaining. Michael Redd for Ohio State. Didn't get the roll. Porter tipped it out to Fishback. He nearly fell over. And then Brian Brown. Is it simultaneously held, or did Brown have it and then Porter tied him up? It was loose and simultaneously held, says Tim Higgins. So they go to the arrow, and it's Ohio State's ball.
And the new rule, it was a valued as a defensive maneuver, and what great control of the pivot foot. And I think this is the right call. Ball's loose. It's up for grabs for anybody, and the arrow takes over.
Now, after this inbounding play. The arrow will go over to Auburn. It's not as often a factor these days, the arrow, because of that new rule this year.
And the question now is, did anybody have possession? They reset the shot clock. If it's a loose ball, technically they're going to reset it. I guess they're saying initially, yeah, maybe on the initial. That's right. On the gather, it's a new clock.
And they did reset it to a fresh 35 for Ohio State. Singleton all alone, and that's a goaltend by Porter. By the time Porter reacted, it was too late, and Singleton has his first points of the night.
Oh, out of bounds that are run properly are beautiful to behold. Nice little screen and a dive to the tin.
Back and forth they go. Auburn by 1, under 7 minutes left. Robinson using the high end eye screen into Porter. Singleton with 4 fouls. Poked it away from Porter. Ohio State bidding for the lead on this possession. It looks like they might be trying to shorten the game a little bit too. Maybe not a bad idea, Bill, with all the foul trouble.
Now, I think they will try and take a good one, but you may be right.
Red got his own rebound, tipped it to Singleton, and Porter knocked it away. And Ohio State will play it in.
How alert is they? And defensively, we saw Penn with a deflection and the ability to get the feet in the right spot. Robinson gets a little trail here. Singleton, as you noted, with the foul difficulty, still able to swipe and deflect.
Penn back with it from Red, along with Singleton, Reese, and Brown. The only starter to play without now is Johnson, still on the bench with 4 fouls. Tough runner from Brown, too strong. Through the hands of Porter, gathered in by Reese. Penn, the shot clock did not reset. 15 to shoot. What a pass! Singleton laid it in.
The lingerie! Pick it up, please, Sean McDonough. It's lingering. Magnificent with the bounce. Talk about ecstasy.
Ohio State by 1. Porter inside the Fishback, working on Penn. Penn had to back away.
And that's the answer. I mean, they just should be doing that all the time. Even though other guys are good offensive players or better around the block, get Fishback down there.
What a game for Fishback, averaging 4 points per game. He has 12 tonight. Auburn by 1.
Well, Ohio State's going to have to yo-yo. Maybe get Penn on somebody else. Keep switching at the other end.
Red, nice pass to Singleton again. He dropped it, kicked it out to the corner. Penn stepped in for a 2.
Are these guys tough? And what a magnificent duo. You talk about Penn and Red playing well, confidently, and unselfishly.
These are 2 of the best teams in the country, and they're playing like it right now. Smith, forced back by Red. Under 5 minutes remaining.
And it's going the other way. Porter did it before and got away with it. When he made that jump shot earlier, he had pushed off. Singleton now gets tagged for number 4, Sean. Watch that arm. And you just can't swim like that. And Timmy Higgins right on top of it to make sure.
So Porter is the first Tiger with 4 fouls. He's the SEC Player of the Year. It looks like Cliff Ellis is going to leave him in. Porter looked at the sideline. Ellis just held out 2 palms extended toward the floor to say, just take it easy.
Yeah, you can look at the Ohio State dilemma, and they have more flexibility, I think, for Auburn, whether Porter does get the 5th one. But you used to your team at this time of year. You value their judgment, and that has to prevail down the stretch.
And they make a free throw. The Buckeyes 3 out of 10 from the line. Singleton, a miss. They're 3 of 11.
Came up limping too sharp.
That was the last 1-and-1 Ohio State will shoot. 19 fouls this half on Auburn. And they're going to check on NJ. Tim Higgins stops the play.
By shooting free throws like that, the coaches get a rash every time they're fouled. I mean, that's incredible. All the old timers, no matter where we happen to go, the one thing that offends them is the inability to make free throws. It's the style of play, I think. Guys like to take a hit. They don't practice it. They'd rather penetrate, linger in the air.
But they've missed the front end of the last 3 1-and-1. So they're
talking 6 points. I mean, that's keeps them in the lead or gets them to the lead.
Under 4.5 remaining. Robinson with Coleman, Porter, Fishback, and Smith. Robinson from the free throw line gets the roll.
Now, you used that earlier. You got to squeeze and don't let the dribble penetrate.
Back and forth they go.
pretty high level right now. A lot of answers out there.
Again, Ohio State content to be patient as the game clock runs under 4 minutes left in the second half. Penn came to the aid of the freshman Brown. And 4 ties in this game, 14 lead changes. Penn fouled. Bryant Smith called for the personal. His first. That's amazing in a game with so many fouls.
And he's the guy. Now right here, you can just see that little penetration. You've got to close it down. The gamble is too far out, too wide. Enables the dribble penetration. And Doc's got a nice touch. That little lead in, soft enough to cradle. As Johnson just showed too large.
Penn, the best free throw shooter among the Ohio State starters at 73%. And he made the first. Jai having ice applied to his left knee. Tie game. Will this be the 15th lead change? Yes. 3:47 remaining. Ohio State by 1 with a berth in the Elite Eight at stake.
Came in the semifinals of the 1996 Great Alaska Shootout, where the Hawkeyes won the game 101-95 in overtime. Jess Settles had 14 points in that game for Iowa. Here's Moore, along with Mooring, Hamilton, Vosco, and Freeman for Connecticut in white.
Elamine's getting up off the bench and reporting to the scores table, so he'll be in at the next dead ball.
Ricky Moore for 3. Loose ball right into the hands of Hamilton. The ball was tapped by Mooring right to him.
Great job by Mooring. Iowa with the small lineup in the game, and Lorsman simply wasn't able to grab the rebound away from Mooring.
They swing it. Oliver. Jakes in the pivot. Jakes again, drop step, cut off, range, hops, Rucker, the bunny, got it. And we're tied at 53 again.
Range really doing a nice job. Now Jody Sylvester's going to stop and tell Jakes that he can't go over that baseline.
Hamilton to Ricky Moore. Iowa continuing to press. Moore to Mooring, short. Rucker with the two-hand rebound. The junior from Inkster, Michigan. Lorsman, quick fire. Hamilton to Freeman all alone. Two-hand slam.
That's a big, big turnaround. Lorsman had a wide open look at 3 and didn't get it. And because the rebound came out long, Freeman gets the run-out basket.
Iowa very disciplined in this half-court set.
Connecticut stays in the man-to-man. Range has really been good down at the end of the shot clock, getting that big body inside.
Jakes, nice look. Rucker missed the layup. Hamilton. Hamilton, the 15-footer, rebounded by Jakes.
The turnovers. Auburn's committed 18, and fouls very much a big part of the story right now.
They sure are. And Ohio State's yo-yoed guys in and out. Johnson and Penn come to mind. But you look at Auburn and you say, well, why don't they go in and get Penn out of the game? I mean, that would be my option because he's so good and so valuable to Ohio State. But then it takes them out of what they want to run. So what they've done is gone to him once, gotten away from an established Porter. Let's see if they do that consistently down the stretch here.
Right now, Johnson's not on the floor. Penn and Singleton are, and Porter's playing with his 4 fouls for Auburn. Smith on a curl. A little bit strong. NJ had the rebound and lost it.
Well, what a nice job grabbing that one by the big guy. Coleman's the guy that Penn had, and he'll keep him busy. It may help Ohio State because he's not the kind of guy that's going to dribble penetrate.
Penn, backdoor, red, good.
Oh, Petey Carrill, where are you? The old Princeton coach. A little step and go. Oh, what a delivery. And that tandem continues to light it up.
Buckeyes by 3. Bear in mind, Auburn's played very few close games. This one's as close as it can be. Pullman a 3, and they're tied at 61.
And you better be careful there. That time Penn did not do his job against Pullman. He can light it up as well.
26 of Auburn's 29 wins this year have been by double figures. Blocking foul called on Pullman. One of the few wins, one of the 3 that they've had in single digits was in the last round against Oklahoma State, a 7-point win.
How about that one, Sean, right there? I mean, that's just strictly gorgeous deployment. Everybody on the left and lift it, and the counter as they try and switch out. Singleton does not get there in time, and a little nylon by Scott Pullman.
6 ties, 16 lead changes. Brown trying to break this tie. 2 out of 2 from the line tonight. 2 out of 3.
That's amazing. Tough to win when you don't make the easy ones, the freebies.
Ohio State, 5 out of 14 from the line. That's 36%. 1 out of 2 for Brown. Ohio State by 1. Ken Johnson's back in now with 4 fouls. So all 3 Buckeyes with 4 fouls are on the court. 2.5 minutes remaining. The winner to the Elite 8. Pullman, a step back 3, wouldn't go. Njai got fingers on the rebound but couldn't control, and Brown did.
They tried to get Penn involved there by using Pullman.
Penn. Great defense by Robinson. It got kicked back to Penn, blocked out of bounds by Njai.
And Scotty thought he should have gotten to the foul line. What a fortuitous bounce. Pretty good defensive play by Auburn as they go defensively into the area that Scooney Penn loves to control. He thought he should have gotten to the foul line. I think it was a good play. Good call.
And Porter lost the dribble as he tried to break away. Clock ticking down to 2 minutes remaining. Ohio State by 1. Shot clock at 10. Red, the pull-up. Short. Red got it back and was fouled on the way up. He'll shoot 2, and that's 5 fouls on Porter.
Stick-to-itiveness by Red. He pulled the string. He's the first to know. He's terrific at following up his own misses. And the SEC MVP gets number 5. Does that slow them down somewhat?
Much more typical Porter performance tonight than we saw in the first 2 games of this NCAA tournament. No question about the foul. But with so much of the focus on the 4 Buckeyes, the 3 Buckeyes with 4 fouls, Porter the first to foul out.
And interestingly enough, the dilemma as they insert is, what do you want? Power? You want shooting? The fellas calls the timeout to get things squared away. He's going with Fishback, it looks like, Sean.
15 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, 5 turnovers, and 5 fouls for Chris Porter. The junior from Abbeville, Alabama, about 90 miles south of Auburn. Let's check the CBS Sports Line stat of the game. Free throw shooting. How appropriate is that? Both teams with 15 attempts. Auburn's made 4 more. The Tigers are still down by 1. For complete tournament coverage, go to cbs.sportsline.com.
You figure it's a guards game now with Robinson on one end, trying to do some damage with the dribble. And Scooney's going to have it most of the time on the other end and try and deliver it to Michael Red, whose dad checks it out.
His father, James.
Michael Red at the line, 2 shots.
Hard to believe it, but Red grew up in Columbus as a Michigan fan. He was happy when Michigan beat Ohio State. When Michigan went to the Final Four back in '92.
How quickly things change, huh?
Red, not a great free throw shooter, 61.6 for the year, but he made the first of the 2 and the second.
I think he's a guy down the stretch you wouldn't mind having on the line. He seems to step it up.
Vegetables?
Yeah, some vegetables there.
3-point lead for the Buckeyes, under 2 minutes left.
And look at Penn hustle for Pullman.
Robinson for 3. Air ball. Controlled by Red. Ohio State with the ball. Up by 3, a minute and a half remaining.
And this is where your ball handlers have to dominate. They spread a little. They weave on this on occasion.
Auburn in danger of becoming the first #1 seed to bow out of this tournament. Penn, the pull-up. 5-point lead for Ohio State.
Did you say onions? But how about the screen by Singleton to get him free?
Smith, and it blocked by Brown. Behind the back, Singleton!
Minutes and 1 second remaining in the game, and rejoin Gus and Dan.
7:01 to go in the second half. UConn up 58-53. This game has been back and forth here in the second half of play. UConn led by as many as 7 in the first half. Both free throws good for Richard Hamilton. And the Huskies take a 59-53 lead. They're on a 6-0 run.
Man-to-man defense for Connecticut. They have played good defense the last couple of Iowa possessions, and that's the key to the 6-0 run. Iowa really has not had a good look at the basket last couple of possessions.
Range, drop step, and he hits it. Just hung in the air. Range has been really prolific in the low post. He has 7 points. Elamine
done a nice job getting the ball inside, and Elamine has been prolific getting the ball up the court.
And Hamilton off the back rim. Rucker with the rebound to Oliver. And Oliver fouled. He shoots. 1 and 1. Elamine can't believe it.
And that foul is against Elamine, and that's number 4. So some real problems for the Huskies. Voskuhl already on the bench with 4. Now Elamine has 4. Oliver is a guy who is very dangerous in transition. He leaves his feet, and Elamine bails him out with the body. Drops the arm as well. Oliver is in trouble right there, and Elamine crashes right into him. Really gave the official no choice.
Dean Oliver, 73% free throw shooter. 1 and 1. And he missed it.
If you're going to beat a team like Connecticut, you've got to take advantage of every opportunity.
Well, Sean McDonough, Singleton in a quiet fashion comes up. He wipes out Smith as well as his man. Look at the opening here. They can't get over the little stroke. Magical by Scooney Penn. And down the other end, you have to help defensively. Look at this recovery. Ryan Smith with a great look. And, oh, where is Coos when you need him? Oh, extraordinary. And no wonder they're delighted and regaling in Columbus.
7-0 run for Ohio State. Out of the 61 all-tie, now 68-61. And Ohio State being out-rebounded for the game, but they've had the last 5 rebounds down the stretch here.
Go to the goal. You don't need the 3. Good job by Fishman. Oh!
Swatted by Johnson. Pullman hung in the air. It spins out. And it's controlled.
Foul
by Brown. They should foul. And they did. Brown will go to the line. Fouls on Fishback. Who's first? 2 shots the rest of the way for Ohio State.
And Sean, you recounted the foul dilemma all evening for Ohio State. And the total flexibility of the coaching staff there, spotting guys, giving them a couple of minutes, particularly the big guys. But how about the confidence in Scooney Penn to say, hey, we got 4, play smart. One, he gave an easy goal. Other than that, he followed his guy, didn't get involved in any dangerous situations.
And Jim O'Brien handled the personnel masterfully. He has a reputation as one of the best game coaches in the country, and he's demonstrated why tonight. He'd be a lot more relaxed if they made a higher percentage of the free throws. They're up by 8. Are the Buckeyes with 35 seconds to go. Robinson nifty behind the back. The jumper wouldn't drop.
They're going to leak out. You don't need it, though. Nice play. They got a couple of coaches out there.
Red gives it to Penn.
Got to give here. You may not have a choice.
They can't get there to foul.
And now the wrong guys are going to have it.
And midnight is about to strike for the great Cinderella story, Auburn. More wins than in any other season in school history with 29, but 29 is all they'll get this year. Foul with 12 seconds left. 3 fouls on Njai. And Singleton is at the line. And boy, did he have a couple of big plays down the stretch, trying to avoid playing in his last game in college.
You think of the tip-aways he had defensively, the screen. And you're right about the wonderful year for Cliff Ellis and his guys. I mean, utter disappointment etched there in that portrait of Chris Porter. A magnificent season. And Ohio State just... Oh, how about that? Oh, smoocheroo by Doc. The good doctor's in the house.
And it's a full timeout for Auburn after Robinson banked in that long 3. Ohio State by 6 with 6.5 left.
Connecticut with
6.5 seconds left. Ohio State leads by 6. Time for the Chevrolet most valuable players of the game. Chris Porter, a double-double before fouling out for Auburn, and Scooney Penn, 24 points, 17 of them in the second half. Many of them scored while playing with 4 fouls, and we've seen in this game, Bill, he truly is probably the most valuable player in the country to his team.
Incredible what he's been able to do as they get the ball in his hands. Scooney Penn, you know he can make free throws. Jimmy O'Brien relies on him to make a lot of decisions. And with all of the rotations, the one thing with about 10 left, they got Penn back in the game with the 4 fouls. He didn't foul, didn't create any problems from that end, and just countered with running the show.
Well, you can add Auburn to this list. You don't want to be the #1 seed in the South in the 90s. Only one to the Final Four. Kentucky was out in the national semifinals in '93. Penn, you think about it, Bill, 8 wins last year. He's the only major difference among the player personnel. They have a couple of freshmen who've given them nice contributions, especially lately Brown. But they go from 8 wins last year to 26 now, and he's really the only difference.
Well, you also have to appreciate what Red has done within his framework mentally. And you're right, he's the guy that stirs everything, gets everybody involved. And Michael Red loving the winning end of it.
3 for Smith, wouldn't go. And that's it. Ohio State wins by 8. The Buckeyes advance the Elite 8 for the first time since '92, which was also the last year that they were in the NCAA tournament. And it was the backcourt again for Ohio State. Red and Penn combined for 48 of their 72 points. And Brown had 9 more out of the backcourt for the Buckeyes.
Just think of what these two have done together, O'Brien and Penn, for this program. Great effort defensively. Zone, they were troubled with rebounding difficulties. They tried to save guys with fouls. Just so impressive with their ability to take a couple of hits early when Auburn looked like they were going to get revved up. The press didn't bother them much at all. Valued the ball very well.
The game was tied at 61, but Jim O'Brien's team closed over the last 3 minutes with an 11-3 run to earn the date in the Elite 8 on Saturday at 6 o'clock Eastern time with St. John's, and coaches who know each other well. Mike Jarvis and Jim O'Brien spent so many days in Boston, and they'll meet in Knoxville with a bid in the Final Four at stake. For Bill Raftery, Michelle Tafoya, Sean McDonough saying so long. Here's Greg.
All right, Sean, thanks. So the Ohio State Buckeyes knock off the Auburn Tigers. The Tigers, the first top seed to fall in the tournament. Let's see if Clark can talk after all the coaching he's been doing tonight here in the studio. Buckeyes played well tonight.
They really did. They did what they needed to do. Didn't turn the ball over a lot. Rebounded well enough, and then got big plays made by Scooney Penn, amongst others.
All right, now the other game going on right now in Phoenix is that in the regional semifinal in the West between Iowa and Connecticut. They are in a timeout, and we will take you there shortly and show you some highlights. Tom Davis, is he coaching his last game? UConn was on the attack early.
All the time. They continue to make shots. They hit a spell where they didn't. UConn took advantage of it.
All right, Clark, they're coming out of the timeout in Phoenix. Let's take you there now. Gus Johnson and Dan Bonner.
And the game reset. Both teams shooting 1 and 1. Iowa has 120, 1 full, And Connecticut only 2 fulls remaining. And the bracket here in the West Regional semifinal, Gonzaga advancing. They beat Florida 73-72, and they take on the winner of this game. Iowa down 66-57. McCausland, Oliver, Koch, Settles, and Bauer on the floor for the Hawkeyes. Here's Oliver around the screen. McCausland, quick release. It's an air ball right out of bounds.
That was good defense by Moore. At this point in the game, you know that Iowa has to go to McCausland, and Moore was all over him. Great defense.
And McCausland, he is a three-point specialist, but they're guarding him so tough around the perimeter. How about driving the ball to the goal once or twice?
McCausland's really not the kind of a guy, Gus, that puts the ball on the deck and goes to the basket. If you can make him dribble, then you've really accomplished your goal.
Ricky Moore, along with Hamilton in the backcourt, Voskuhl, Freeman, and Elamine back into the game. He has 4 fouls. Freeman kicks it out, 14 to shoot, 2:23 remaining. Now Elamine. Elamine, stop and start foul. Now let's check out the CBS Sports Line stat of the game. Elamine wiped out on the baseline. Voskuhl's also shaken up a bit. Points in the paint dominated by Connecticut is the stat of the game. And Elamine gets up slowly. He's looking at his hand. He came into this game with 2 tender hamstrings. Earlier this season, he really pulled one of the hamstrings against Georgetown, his right hamstring.
Elamine has done a very good job getting to the basket in this game. Powerful move right there. He falls to the floor. And Voskuhl, I think, was actually coming over to congratulate him and slipped on a wet spot. Voskuhl comes in and gets him right in the stomach, and Voskuhl may have hurt himself. My goodness, you don't need congratulations like that.
So Khalid Elamine, 16 points, 5 assists, and 3 rebounds. A couple of steals also, misses the first. He shoots 77%. Second good. And a sub, Mooring into the game. Elamine takes a seat.
Elamine in for the offense. He's got 4 personal fouls. You don't want to risk him on the defensive end. Iowa needs points quickly.
Oliver straight to the basket, off the glass, no good. Settled, strong rebound, and stick back. And timeout Iowa with 2:04 to go. Settles with 11.
And that's going to be a full timeout.
So a full timeout called by the Hawkeyes. 2:04 to go. They're down 67-59. Connecticut up 67-59. Tom Davis is more than just a coach to these Hawkeyes.
I think it's just, he's been recruiting us, been sending us letters, been talking to us on the phone since we were in 8th grade. And all the players are recruited by this guy. And he becomes your second father. You spend more time with Coach Davis than you do with your own parents. And he's just meant the world to our team, to our program. And we want to send him out with a bang. And it's his year, and it always has been.
Well-documented story. Tom Davis, his contract not renewed. He is coaching his final season. This possibly his final game. Elamine fouled in the backcourt.
Part of the problem now for Iowa is that you've got to get fouls to get the ball back. In Connecticut, the guys they have on the floor are pretty good free throw shooters. You'd like to get Voskuhl if you could.
10th foul against Iowa. 2 shots coming up for Elamine in the game reset. Iowa with only 1 22nd timeout remaining. Connecticut, they have 2 fulls. And Elamine. It's kid is a money player, only a sophomore.
Sure is.
Always steps up in big games. And you talk about the teams that can potentially beat Duke. Connecticut, St. John's, they have to be considered.
I would certainly think so, and Elamine is one of the big reasons why Connecticut might be able to handle the Blue Devils, because he's not going to fold under the Duke pressure.
Also Michigan State, who lost to the Blue Devils earlier this season. Spartans down big, but rallied to come back and almost pulled it out. So 2 free throws good for Khalid Elamine. 2:02 to go in the second half. Huskies lead at 69-59.
Connecticut defensively, you don't want to let Iowa get any quick scores, and you certainly don't want to give up any three.
Settles, poked away. McCausland, baseline, out of bounds.
And Gus is beginning to look more and more like this will be Tom Davis's last game on the Iowa sideline.
And you have to mention his last game on the Iowa sideline. He is not ruled out coaching again.
Guy with a record who's Koch was out of bounds when that ball hit him. A man who has a record of 10, 20-win seasons in 13 years. You have to figure that somebody out there might be interested in a fellow with that kind of resume.
Rip Hamilton in the front court, and wisely he backs it out and milks the clock. Huskies now playing keep away and a foul away from the ball. And the Chevrolet most valuable players of the game, Jess Settles, the 6th-year senior, 11 points, 5 rebounds. And on the other side, the sophomore sensation, Khalid Elamine, 19 points, and he dropped off 5 assists. So Jake Voskuhl at the line. And the first is good.
Voskuhl only a 61% free throw shooter, but hit that one with a great deal of confidence, and that is probably enough.
Biggest lead of the game for UConn, 70-59. Make it 71-59, 1:37 to go in the second half of play. The winner takes on the Bulldogs from Gonzaga, a 10 seed. Oliver. Freeman with the rebound. And a foul. 1:24 to go. UConn fans on their feet right now. Tom Davis. He can sense that the end is near.
Tom Davis not giving up yet. He was getting on Kent McCausland there. He wanted McCausland to get a different foul. They did not want to foul Ricky Moore.
So Moore, first one is good. Ricky Moore also a solid game, especially on the defensive end. He has 6 points. Missed the second. Settles. Luresman for 3. Got it. And he hit the 3 ball with 1:14 to go in the second half. Quick timeout by the Hawkeyes.
Luresman hits the 3, but it's probably too little too late. Think back to earlier in the half with the score tied at 55. Luresman came down, missed the open 3-point shot, and Freeman got a run-out dunk on the other end.
More